Hello, beautiful woman. If you have been in hustle mode for a long time and constantly doing and trying to achieve, but still feel like it's never enough, and you know you are disconnected from your body, from your sensuality, from this feeling of just receiving with ease, well, you're going to love this video today. Today, I am bringing you part one of this very juicy two-part series designed to help you get you out of your head and back into your body, and to help you create a life that really honors this feminine flow without losing your ambition and your drive as a successful woman. So in each video, I'll be sharing 3 very powerful soft productivity hacks, but not the kind that pushes you into burnout and hustle that we are often used to. Instead, these are feminine, embodied, and pleasure-driven to live a softer life without giving up your drive and productivity as a woman. Instead, they are designed to help you and support you into this new way of being, this new feminine way of being, to get the results that you truly want, whether that is to up-level your sex life, your work life, your relationship. So this is for you, and trust me, you are going to want to come back for part 2 of this. Before I dive into those, welcome, Goddess. My name is Jessica Angeleri, and I help high-performing women just like you reconnect to their sensual power and awaken to their feminine essence and really unlock their magnetic energy that lives in the body, not in the mind, which is where we are so often living as women. If you're ready to connect deeply with your sensual power and to step into your radiant self and to start this new way of being in this world as a successful woman, then you're in the right place. Make sure to sign up for my free course. It's a 7-day course, Erotic Feminine Embodiment. You will receive a different embodiment or pleasure practice every day for 7 days to get you started in this journey of connection and sensual slowness. Like I said, without losing your sense of ambition and drive. I'll drop the link below so you can check that out. We can talk about all of this for days and days, but really the real work occurs in the integration and the embodiment, and that's why I'm offering you those juicy practices. I know you're going to love them. So gorgeous. Before we dive into these 3 productivity hacks that I have for you in this part 1, of the part 2 series, I want to remind you that living a soft life is absolutely possible for you, even as a productive, successful woman. And it doesn't mean that when you take on this more soft, sensual life, that you just become lazy or unproductive, or that you're just giving up your independence, you're giving up your drive. It doesn't mean that you don't get anything done. It's not about being passive or not having ambition. That's something that I really want to emphasize here. I'm not saying do nothing either. Instead, this is about doing things differently. So you can still be focused, high performing, high achieving, and still live softly. So before we dive into these 3 feminine productivity hacks, I do want to share a bit about my story, because I have been there. I have been in the hustle and the constant doing. I know what it feels like to be there, but I also know what's on the other side for you. So I hope that by sharing a little bit of my story, I hope you can relate and see a part of you in it as well, so you know what's possible for you when you start to take on more of this sensual way of being. I spent the last 10 years deeply devoted to this path, but it wasn't always like this for me. I did come from burnout. I was working full time, performing, training at night to training in my Samba team. We used to train quite a few nights a week, and then I would do it on the weekend as well. And then in the morning, so I would get up super early before work. I'd even train at the gym. I was always operating at a high performance level, so I know what that feels like if you're there. I know what it feels like to be constantly on the go, constantly planning, achieving, pushing, always on to the next thing. But there was a moment when life cracked me open. I moved to a new country. Yes, I moved for love. That was my choice, to start a new relationship. I literally left everything behind me. My job, my routine, my comfort, my community. I left everything that I knew, and it wasn't just moving countries. It was this whole restart in my system, honestly. And it really forced me to slow down, to let go of all the things that made me feel on track. It was one of the biggest energetic shifts of my life, even spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of it. It was a real cellular reshift. And so for the first time in that time, I didn't have something to achieve. I wasn't on to the next thing. And although now I look back, I can say that my biggest achievement in that time was building the foundation for my relationship, the relationship with my man, and the relationship with myself as well. And even though it was my decision to move, of course, the universe definitely had bigger plans for me. And so within the first few months, everything, we were in an apartment near the beach. Everything was stolen in our apartment. Money, possessions, things that I had brought with me. I had just left my career. I wasn't earning an income at the time because I did leave it, and I had no idea what next. And my partner at the time, he was going through something really heavy and toxic with his work, his business too. And so it just left me and him. It was literally just us two. And we were put in this situation together to face this together. And I had to face everything that I was probably avoiding at the time. And I was doing that by staying busy. So it was really a hard 3 years, probably first 3 years, lots of dark nights of the soul. And looking back now, I see that all of this was just an opportunity for me to be cracked open. And part of that was rebuilding my identity. The identity that I had built beforehand was all based on performance and what I had done and what the things that I could do. And it just became really exhausting, really. This need to prove myself, this need to say the right thing all the time, and constantly shaming myself if I hadn't said the right thing, or if I didn't achieve something, I would be disappointed. And I was just in this constant doing in order to feel worthy. All of that had to fall away. I'm still working through some of those pieces of it, but really that connection, that attachment to that identity of me had to fall away. I had to create a whole new meaning around success and productivity, a whole new way of being without sacrificing my essence, which is very driven and on purpose. I like that. I like to be driven. I like to be creating. I like to be of service. And so I didn't give up my high standards or my devotion to doing things with excellence. That part of me still thrives. I feel like we are so focused on trying to get out of that mode, but it's also a very a beautiful quality to honor as well. But the key here is the balance. I started to see how much of my drive was actually coming from my old conditioning, from a deep unconscious need to prove what I was capable of, to achieve to the highest, to show how great or loved or amazing I am. And that was, I feel like, in my blueprint. Like I like to achieve high. I do. I like to keep improving myself, but at what cost, right? So I had to really learn the long, slow way. I had to redefine productivity in a way that didn't make me feel lazy or behind or like I was losing a part of me. And I always say this to my clients because they are usually like me, high achieving, high performing, valuing high standards. Our issue isn't how to stop procrastinating. Our learning is to find that balance of soft with power. And honestly, when you do, something magical happens. And I see it with my clients as well when we're in our sessions together and we're in this beautiful temple, really connecting with the body and allowing the feminine to guide. There is so much wisdom and creative sparks that move through. Living a softer, more feminine life allowed my inner masculine, the part of me who loves to be on purpose and loves doing and learning, to come back online. I allowed him to come back in a more sustainable, energized way. Now I don't wake up overwhelmed with a to-do list or wondering what I should be doing. I let the process unfold. Doesn't mean I don't have my routine and my schedule. That's so important. But I do allow my body and my sensuality to lead. I allow my energy to move through me instead of forcing or pushing from my head. And this is what I love to see women really rebuild, that trust with themselves, so they know that they are allowed to do that for themselves as well. So before we get into the hacks, let me know, did something land with you when I was sharing something about my story? Do you feel a resonance there? Let us know in the comments if you have felt something very similar. So this is what this series is really about. I'm going to be sharing with you 3 of my favorite feminine productivity hacks in this video. And all of these are rooted in the lessons that I've learned from slowing down and softening and still showing up with power and purpose. So my love, let's get into the first one. The first productivity hack to live a more soft but powerful life is to connect with your womb daily. Your womb heart daily. We have been using our brains, our minds for everything, right? And she can get cluttered. There's that to-do list, checking off all those things, that dentist appointment, that interview that you have, that meeting that you have, what to buy, when to wash your hair, when to schedule that date, that launch that you have coming up. And guess what? We're constantly living up there in that state. And what happens when you actually try then to relax or to have sex, or when you're laying on that beach and that beautiful, beautiful island, it's a bit hard to switch over. Maybe you are still in your mind and it's all of these thinking and thinking about what next, thinking if you should have said that or not. All of that, it just takes up valuable brain space. And your brain, your mind loves to be in charge. But guess what happens? Guess what gets left behind? The womb brain. Or I should say your womb heart. I've heard women talk about the second brain for creativity. I believe it's in the womb. Your womb is this beautiful energetic space, center for your creativity. She is full of so much wisdom and magic, and she doesn't work in logic, which the mind does, but we can integrate both of them. She's the one that whispers, no, that guy didn't feel right. It just didn't feel aligned for me. Or she's the one that might say, this job isn't it. Or I'm not feeling respected here. Or I deeply know that I want to bring more joy and pleasure into my life. And we ignore her though, because she doesn't shout. She's not linear. She's not loud like the mind does work in that way. Instead, she speaks through feelings, sensations, desires, pulses, hunger, yearning. And when we don't connect with her, we end up forcing, hustling, overdoing things until that we're in that place of exhaustion or overwhelm. Let me know if you've been there. And then when our mind wants to run the show, we're doing that from fear and control. So we're making decisions, we're making choices from that space of fear and control, rather than from that relaxed, centered place of the womb. So one of the first hacks to living a more soft but productive life is you will want to connect with your womb daily. So get used to connecting with this part of you that isn't logical. Even if it's just a few minutes a day, your womb is your feminine compass. And when she's full of old energy, past lovers, shame, trauma, grief, all of those things which we can often store here because we haven't tended to these parts of us, because they can feel a little bit scary or we don't want to deal with it. Well, it makes it very difficult to then hear your inner guidance clearly. And that's why I talk so much about energetic womb clearing, because when your womb is clear, you have more clarity. You know what steps to take next. You're not making choices from a traumatized little wounded girl or from that people-pleasing part of you. Instead, you're making your choices, decisions, taking action from a place of power and groundedness, from at the same time softness and embodiment. So living a soft life is actually the most efficient way. And we do that through connecting with your womb and your mind as well. So let's move on to hack number 2, the easeful productivity hack, I like to call it. Just feel into that word, easeful. Most of us are not living in that way. We're making life harder for ourselves, and we do that by overcomplicating things, making excuses all the time for that guy who's not calling you back. And so we create all these scenarios and stories, or we stay in that old habit of, okay, well, that's the way that I've been shown. That's the way that I've always known for things to be. And so then we look for all of these hard solutions. We often look for things that tell us that we have to do all of these things to feel better to fix ourselves. We often overlook those more simple solutions. And I'm not talking about quick fix solutions like popping a pill or overriding your emotions and just going on to the next thing. No, I'm talking more about simplifying. There's a difference here, making your life easier by simplifying your solutions, not looking for quick solutions or quick fixes. The high value woman in you will want to look for solutions that are complicated, because we often associate grand or complicated things with something more worthy. But honestly, I don't believe we need more tools and more tricks, and definitely not more quick fixes, right? To tell us that there's something wrong with us. What we need is to simplify, and that's the feminine. I remember I had a client who she was very deeply in her masculine overdrive, and she was feeling very disconnected and very stressed in her body and very tense, and she was always busy and rushing and fixing and planning, and I told her one thing, and I just said, look, let's just pause for a moment. Right? Let's clear the energy. Let's move this energy through the body and not try and dissect every little thing in this moment. We tend to overshare, and we want to really control everything through this oversharing and overcomplicating things. And I remember she looked at me and she said, that's it, just to move the body, to move the energy. She wanted a strategy. She wanted a step-by-step formula. And I realized, I think this is very common because I've been there too. Her mind couldn't believe it could be that simple, but her body was feeling such a new sense of relief. Like, oh my God, I actually really needed this. Most of the time, from what I've noticed, is that our mind will want to overcomplicate things and come up with why it's not working, needs to be faster, why that's not correct, why it needs to be harder than that. Let me know if that's something that you've felt or thought as well. In my years of reflecting on this journey, I know there's always a more simpler, more smoother, more easeful way, or a softer way of doing things. We're just so hard on ourselves. Now, I'm also one to do this myself still. Sometimes I can get in my head about things and it creates so many blocks, and I realize when I'm making things harder for myself, it's unnecessary. So let's say you're looking for ways to feel more sexy or sensual, to have better sex, to be more confident in your body or in your voice, or simply just to get out of your head and to feel more connected to your true self and be there unapologetically. You might think, okay, well, I'm going to learn all of these tantra moves, do all of these things, looking for different diets and quick fixes and taking on these 5 manifestation steps. And, these things sometimes are sold to us because, not all the time, but, this world can keep us in this loop of to keep us in this state of mind that there is something wrong with you. But really, there's always a more simple solution. So just remember that. And usually it does come down to just moving your body, taking that breath, relaxing your body, softening those jaws, allowing your belly to unclench. So before you do anything, can you ask yourself, is there a way or an easier way to do this? Can this thing that I'm doing, can it be outsourced, or can I ask someone for help in this? Am I obsessing over something? Can I walk away from it and come back to it later, and maybe I'll have some new, fresh perspective? Because right now I'm in my head and I'm telling myself that I have to sit here and finish it right now, otherwise there's something wrong, right? Am I perfecting this, or can I just leave it and still know that this is actually a freaking high standard because that's what I produce? Can this be done in a more simple way? Sometimes it's all it takes. Notice when your mind is wanting to overcomplicate things. There will be a part of you that maybe wants to fill up your whole day just to feel productive, to stretch out all of that free time that you have. And then you tell yourself, you know what? I don't have time. I don't have time to slow down. I don't have time to relax. I don't have time for pleasure practices, right? But what if you did schedule in something that made you feel a little bit more softer and easeful? What if you didn't need to get to that email straight away? Maybe you can leave it. What if you batched your YouTube content or your blog posts? You batched them when you're feeling more productive. What if you didn't do 1,000 meetings in one hit? Can you make your life more easy for yourself? Stop making it harder for yourself. What if you just left that one thing on your to-do list? Will it be okay? I'm sure it will be. A soft life isn't about being lazy and doing nothing. It's about doing things in a way that gives you more space and time to be with yourself and to do things with ease. That can take some practice to get out of that rushing mode, right? So rather than being in the energy of doing and hustle, like, do we really need to be hustling all the time? Rushing all the time, walking fast all the time? Or does your mind just love you doing this? Because maybe that's what you're used to. No fault of your own. Like, we are taught to be like that from such a young age. Go to school, do this practice, do that, hurry up, finish your homework, do all of this stuff is training for us. So we have to untrain. So maybe you are just used to letting your mind run the show and tell you that you have to keep doing, rushing, pushing harder, get it done to prove yourself, or so you don't feel disappointed. And it's usually like yourself that feels this judgment as well. So always ask yourself, what if this could be easier right now? Just make things easier for yourself. And this is why as well we have mentors and coaches where you can jump into spaces where you don't have to hold the weight all on your own, whether that's for your business, for healing, for your well-being, to be more connected to your feminine. What I've known is that when you do this kind of work with someone else, there is also an efficiency and elevation that happens really fast. So that can also be another way to make your life easier as well. Knowing that you don't have to do all of this path and this journey alone. There are a lot of resources and help out there. So sister, we are on to hack number 3. Let me know what's landing with you so far. We have got our last one for this episode, for part 1, and that is gentle rhythm planning, or in other words, align with your energy. This is an important one for us women, and that means being soft with your schedule and your routine. That also means prioritizing your energy, knowing that your energy is always shifting. One day you may be feeling really energized and another day not so much. This calls for you to be more flexible and soft with your scheduling, not so rigid that if you don't get all this stuff done that's on your list, that you end up disappointing yourself or shaming yourself. Because the truth is, as a woman, you are never the same every day. So you can't possibly be functioning the same all the time. So it's so important for you to put a pleasure practice at the top of your list. When you do that, you give yourself permission then to drop in and to tap into the energy that you are in that day. So the number one thing here is to always schedule your days around your energy. So give yourself a moment, more importantly at the beginning of your day, to check in with yourself. That's where the pleasure practice comes in. You check in with your energy. The best way to do that is through getting into this pleasure habit. doing that first thing in the morning. Get in the habit of that, planning your day around your energy and not just your to-do list. So when you get into the habit of doing, like stepping into a pleasure practice, instead of just going straight into your doing, then you give yourself space and time to just check in with that energy of yours, where you can say, okay, or ask yourself, what am I feeling? And then from there, you base your days from that energy. So this is so important to know your energy, to know your menstrual cycle. This is why I teach you how to commune with your womb and your menstrual cycle in my group program, Feminine Remembrance. When you know your menstrual cycle or where you are in your energy, in your phases, then you start to match your energy then to the task. And then in that way, everything starts to flow more easily. And this way you don't force things when you're just not feeling it. Or you schedule certain things that you have to do, like your tasks, around your cycle, around where you are in your energy. Because naturally we are more creative at different times, and other times we're lower in our energy. So for example, in my follicular phase or my ovulatory phase, I generally feel more confident. I have more clarity in my voice. I feel more extrovertive. That's why I generally schedule interviews. I record my YouTube videos during that time, if I can, of my menstrual cycle. It's when I'm feeling more magnetic, more articulate, more energized, right, to get my message across, more passionate. And then in my luteal phase or even my bleeding phase, I usually focus on my journaling. I get more inquisitive about my internal world. So I feel more tuned into my intuition. I might be journaling some new creative ideas for this, and I just jot them down. So I'm really working around my energies and how I'm feeling in my menstrual cycle. So it's so key for you to get into the habit of listening to your body in this way and knowing your body in this way, not just listening or resting when you have your period and that's it. You're meant to work with your flow, with your energies as a whole, your whole menstrual cycle. As a high producing woman, you want efficiency, right? So the last thing you want is to put more onto your plate. But believe me, doing this, tuning to this, tuning to your cycles and your energies is the most efficient way to get shit done. Connecting with your body and your womb first. This is essential for us women to make this a priority for us, because when you do, then you have more clarity about where you are and your energy and how you feel that day. Like, how much energy do we truly waste just by being in this confusion and thinking that we don't know and maybe overwhelm? And then a lot of the energy goes into things we don't even want to really look at or do, but deep down, we know this. We know we're doing this. Everything becomes much easier when you're working with your body and your energy. And I know it's not always available as well to live in this flexible way where you're working for a boss or you're in a job. So it's not always possible, I understand, to just be like, okay, I have my cycle. These are the energies I'm feeling. I'm going to just wipe out this week and not schedule anything here. I get it. It's not possible for everyone, but you can still do many moments in your day to check in, to know when you are feeling more creative, turned on, or not. Check in with yourself to know what part of your day do you feel most creative or most energized. So then when, let's say, 4 p.m. comes and you don't have that same energy as you do at 9 a.m., instead of drinking 5 coffees to push through and say, okay, I have 5 more hours to go, I have 3 more hours to go, I'm going to keep pushing, And then I can just lay on the couch and just collapse and watch reruns or binge watch Sex and the City or whatever, or scroll endlessly on my phone. Your life isn't about trying to fit in as much as you can in each second. So this is about prioritizing, again, know your energy and give yourself some grace. What can I get done now that might not take up all of my juice? So let's say it is 4 p.m. Maybe you want to savor some of your juice or savor your energy, and to know it's okay to not get all that stuff done. It's totally okay. If I get it, if you have a deadline to meet, you can't avoid it, obviously. But if you know you're feeling the most turned on in the morning, batch your content, write out your content, do your meetings, do your creative things in the morning. And then by the end of the day or the afternoon, you leave it for those more tedious tasks, things that don't require a lot of your creativity, just more simple things. The point that I'm trying to make here is to just not work harder and push through to the point of exhaustion and overwhelm, and then shaming yourself if you don't get stuff done, then spiraling as well in confusion. Instead, you're working smarter. This is what I believe, what working smarter really is for us women. Remember, I said your rhythms are always changing. It's going to look different with each woman. So we need to stop comparing ourselves as well to another woman. Really practice being flexible and knowing yourself and being fluid with yourself, being graceful to yourself. This is how you can offer more compassion, to know that you are not a machine and you're not here to be forcing and pushing all the time. So, my loves, these are the first 3 productivity shifts that will help you step into more of a soft life, a life that's spacious, magnetic, deeply connected to your feminine, all whilst honoring the masculine in you, the productivity, the drive, the presence, the ambition, the focus. So this is how I believe you can really energize the power within you as a woman. So connect with your womb, brain daily, or womb heart daily. Get into that easeful productivity hack and start taking on more gentle rhythm planning or align with your energy. Which ones do you feel that you can start to integrate more of into your life, or practicing, or just become more aware of how you are moving through your days and life? Let us know in the comments, which one are you going to start with, number 1, number 2, or number 3? And remember, we're just getting started. In part 2 of this beautiful series, I'll be sharing 3 more powerful shifts to help you embody sensuality, create a life that really allows you to be driven, productive, and at the same time soft. So you can receive more by doing less. So if you're craving that, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, like this video, do all those amazing things to stay tuned to meet me in part 2. Thank you so much, gorgeous, for being here. Thank you so much for your love and support here as well in this channel, with all your likes and your comments. I truly am deeply grateful for you. And of course, if you're feeling the pull to dive deeper into this work, make sure to tap the link below to sign up for my free course, Erotic Feminine Embodiment, to start this journey of awakening your sacred feminine. Because your soft, turned on life starts right now, sister. I'll see you in the next episode, gorgeous. My name is Jessica Angeleri.